Hello everyone, I'm Mindy Eggen and welcome to my channel. Today is featuring the collaboration between Simon Says Stamp and Picket Studios for STAMPtember 2023, and it is a beautiful sentiment stamp set called Jingle All the Way. I'm going to be pairing it with a Wreath stencil to really draw the focus into the center of my card design and highlight that sentiment. And keep in mind that these are a limited edition, so once they sell out, they are not restocked. So here's a look at that stamp set. This is Jingle All the Way from Picket Studios. All of these really fun shaped sentiments. I really like the design of the Holly Jolly sentiment, which is what I will be using today in the center of my wreath. So this is the Christmas wreath stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and I thought it would be a great time to dig out my waffle flower. I think these are called the sticky mats. It's got the same material as stamp sets, and I'm sure you've probably seen these around. I've used a couple of them here and there, but I really wanted this bigger one to really get all of my stencil area. So I removed the backing of one, and I have that stuck down to my glass surface, and then I could pull that sheet off of the top layer. So it's really, unless you're seeing me pull the sheet off, it's really hard to tell that I have this on my work surface. Now I took some Hammermill cardstock, I placed that in the center of my sticky grid, and then placed my wreath over the top. I really tried to have it even margins on each side because I'm not sure yet if I was cutting this panel down or not. Now that my grid mat or my sticky mat is holding my stencil down securely, I'm going to come in with Aspen ink. I love this shade of green. It's very kind of winterish. So I started with that light green. It's the Aspen ink using a blending brush, just going over the leaf areas of the wreath. It's hard to see right now, but there is a poinsettia image in here as well. And I'm going to go over that with Cheeky. So I started out with two very light colors. The Simon Says Stamp inks come in trios, and I like to start with the lightest colors, and then I'm going to come in with the darker colors to add a little bit of contrast to them. So here I did bring in, I believe it was blush, and I added it with a smaller blending tool to the center of my poinsettias. And then I'm going to come in with, I think this one was sage. It's the next step up in these trios. And I'm adding that darker color to the outside or inside portion of the leaves. I will be sure to have everything linked down below in my video description as well, in case I mess up on telling you what color that I was using. And then I'm going to carefully peel up that stencil, and I've been really liking using a palette knife to help get my cardstock started to peel that off of my grid mat or my sticky grid. I'll never get that right. And then I'm just going to wipe it down with a stamp chamois to clean off any of my excess ink. So this card project was actually pretty funny. I mean, it's a clean and simple card. The ending, I have quite the funny story at the end. But first here, I'm taking that Holly Jolly sentiment and I'm going to line it up in the center of my wreath. I picked it up at the door of the Misti, kind of just conditioned the stamp set with my hand so that it takes ink better. And then I'm going to ink that up with the Concord and Ninth black ink. So any black ink would work here, or even heat embossing would be really nice too. Now, I did decide that I wanted to cut this down kind of because I felt almost too plain. I mean, it was pretty simple, and clean and simple is sometimes kind of hard for me. So one thing I like to do to get out of that kind of funk is trim that panel down with an A2 layering die. Then I added some foam tape behind my panel, and I'm going to add it to a card front created from cream cardstock. Now, you're going to see here, I dug out some sequins mix. I think it's the Moonshine Sequins from Simon Says Stamp. And as I was figuring out where I wanted the sequins to go, our power completely went out. I believe a transformer blew. So there I stood completely in the dark. We were out of power for a couple hours. So I had to finish attaching the sequins after our power came back on. So I guess I'll never forget how this card came together. A really quick and clean and simple Christmas card that you could recreate, and a great way to dig out your stencils to add with the sentiments. Now keep in mind, this is a STAMPtember collaboration stamp set, so once they sell out, they are gone. So all of those supplies, including that stamp set, are listed down below in my video description.